Hi guys, this is Pamela from Memphis foodtreader.blogspots.com, and this is another video for Pamela Fear Not. In case you couldn't tell from my other Fear Not videos, I really have a thing against dough. It just doesn't work well with me. So we're here again trying to do a Chinese steamed bun, or we just call it bao. So we're gonna see how that goes. First, we're going to warm up about a cup of milk. And once it's warm, you're going to add it into a bowl. Then you're going to add in a tablespoon of sugar. That's our food for our yeast. And a tablespoon of dry active yeast. I used a quick rise or quick active one, and somehow it didn't quite bubble up like the one in the recipe that I was trying to follow. So I don't know if it's because of the kind of yeast I use, but it still somehow worked inside the dough and the dough did rise. So don't be too scared if the yeast you buy, as long as it's not expired, if it doesn't bubble, because mine did it and it still worked. You're going to cover this for about 10 minutes to let it kind of do its magic. So this is what my yeast mixture looked like after 10 minutes. Again, it didn't look like all bubbly or foamy like the video I was watching or following. But I will definitely link the original video or the video that I was following in the description box so you guys can see what that one looked like. Again, mine still worked, and I definitely made sure my yeast was not expired. In a large mixing bowl, you'll have 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour. Then you add in 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Again, mine is pink because I use Himalayan pink salts. And then you'll have 2 teaspoons of dehydrated milk or milk powder. You can find this in the baking aisle. I actually always have a box on hand because that's my secret ingredient in my mac and cheese. You will add in 2 tablespoons of olive oil and then your cup of the yeast milk mixture. Now I'm going to be honest, and once I started mixing it together, it was very dry. So I ended up just adding more milk and more oil. And it did somehow come together. Once you have formed a ball of dough, then you're going to oil it and then cover it and put it in a warm spot so it can rise for about an hour. I was quite skeptical when I put in my dough in my little toaster oven because it just didn't look right. However, magically in an hour it did actually rise. So now you're going to kind of punch it down a little bit and then add a little flour and just start kneading it. You're going to knead it for quite a while. So that's kind of what makes it nice and soft and fluffy. And so it's going to give your arm a little workout, but it's going to be worth it in the end. So just keep on working it for maybe like 10 to 15 minutes. And then you can stop. Now we're going to put just a little bit of extra flour on here. Not too much, but just a little so that we can start rolling it out. So you are going to roll it out fairly thin, maybe about 1/8 of an inch or so. And then we're going to use a circle cutter. I just had like a wine glass that I used to kind of cut my circles. When you're cutting out your circles, you can, of course, use your scraps. So make sure, though, you put it inside of like a saran wrap so it doesn't dry out. And then just let it kind of rest before you reform a ball and roll it back out again. In the end, I end up making 25 circles. And my wine glass circles were actually kind of small, so you can't really stuff them if you wanted to stuff the bao with chicken or tofu or shrimp or whatever. So you can, which is what I did, you can actually roll it out once it's cut to be a larger circle. And so I did 25, but half of them were mini, and then half of them were big enough to kind of stuff into maybe like a 2-bite appetizer. When you're happy with your circle, then put oil around the edge of it and then fold it over. This way it won't come apart when you're steaming. Be sure to put your folded bao onto some squares of parchment paper. This will keep it from sticking in your steamer. You're going to simmer a pot of water and then stick your steamer on top. And then you'll put your bao inside. Mine fits 5. And then, of course, a lid. And you will steam it on low for 10 minutes. Mine is not an actual steamer. I just rigged one up with like a colander. And then a lid that was big enough to fit on top. All right, and here we have our steamed mini bao. They're so nice and fluffy and soft. You can put any kind of toppings in the middle or any stuffings in the middle. What I had planned on doing was doing like a jerk chicken with a purple cabbage slaw and stuffing them. So I will try making the stuffing another time. And I just really want to see if I can make the bao first. But I think even though I was really doubtful and I had some problems with the dough in the beginning, it actually turned out all right. This is, I think, my most successful attempt at bao. I've done this. This is my 3rd attempt, I believe. But the first time using this recipe, which I will put into the description box. If you want to see more of these videos in Pamela Fears Not, then please press subscribe. There'll be other series and some other videos in the description box you can check out. And again, my blog is memphisfoodtrend.blogspot.com if you want to check that out. And you can, of course, subscribe to my Instagram if you want to see when or get updates of when I post things on my blog or my YouTube channel, which is, again, Memphis Space Food Trotter. Thank you guys for watching. And I'm quite pleased with the results this time for Pamela Fear Not. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye, guys.